Incredible discovery. Father exposed a little girl's hidden struggles while washing dishes alone. Jake stood in the warm, inviting glow of the kitchen, the comforting scent of meatloaf wrapping around him like a soft hug. He scrubbed at the plates, lost in his thoughts, the steady rhythm of water splashing against porcelain a familiar comfort. But tonight, something felt off. The clinking of silverware echoed louder in the silence, and suddenly, from the living room, muffled sobs broke through, sharp and heart-wrenching. Jake's brow furrowed, a tightness forming in his chest. Dropping the sponge, he ran a hand through his messy hair, the exhaustion of a long day at the auto repair shop weighing heavily on his shoulders. He stepped into the living room, where the sight of Lily hunched over her homework shattered his heart. Tears streamed down her cheeks, glistening like droplets of pure hurt as she battled her math problems and the weight of being the new kid in town. It wasn't just the math that was difficult. Jake's gut twisted as he realized the deeper issues at play. Lily felt utterly alone in their small town. "Hey, pumpkin," Jake said softly, his voice gentle yet tinged with worry. "What's wrong?" Lily looked up, her big, blue eyes full of anguish. They said I was stupid in school," she choked out between sobs. "I'm trying so hard, but it's like they don't even see me." Every word felt like a knife to Jake's heart. He sensed the bullying beneath the surface, the innocent joy of childhood overshadowed by cruel taunts. The weight of his financial struggles loomed over them, a shadow that snuffed out her light. Jake grappled with the surge of protective instinct inside him, wanting to fiercely shield her from the world's harshness. "Lily, listen," he began, trying to summon the tough love wisdom his dad had instilled in him. "Tough times don't last, but tough people do." As the words slipped out, instead of comfort, he saw her eyes flare up with hurt, misunderstanding etched all over her face. Jake's heart sank. Lily pulled her notebook closer, retreating into silence, frustration wrapping around her like a thick blanket. Jake felt helpless, the reality of their struggles almost too much to bear. Just then, a flyer fluttered across the coffee table, a local talent show, promising an evening of laughter and community. An idea sparked in Jake's mind, a flicker of hope. "Hey, what if we did this talent show together?" he proposed, a mix of excitement and cautious hope bubbling within him. "You could showcase your art, your singing, anything you want." Lily looked up, curiosity replacing some of her tears as she considered it. They started brainstorming together, the warmth of creativity sewing together their frayed emotions. And while doubts crept in, would the kids truly embrace her, or simply be unkind? Jake felt a new sense of connection forming, the stage opening doors to friendship and fresh beginnings. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. They practice day in and day out, laughter and anticipation filling their home. Jake saw hints of her confidence blooming, but fear still lingered. What if the night revealed Lily's vulnerabilities in a way that hurt more than it helped? Finally, the night arrived. Jake watched from backstage, his heart thumping wildly as he peered at Lily, standing small yet determined under the spotlight. Would she conquer her fears and thrive, or would the weight of loneliness pull her back? As she took a deep breath, ready to share her gift, the world fell silent, and Jake held on to hope. The spotlight beamed down, illuminating Lily with a halo of light that made her look so small yet so brave. Jake could see her trembling, her fingers fidgeting with the edge of her shirt. He felt a surge of pure love for her, this little girl who had been through so much and was stepping boldly into the unknown. Lily glanced at the audience. A mix of familiar faces stared back, some kind and supportive, others with skepticism lingering in their expressions. The room felt charged, a silence so thick you could cut it with a knife. Jake felt his heart race, palms sweating in anticipation. He could hear her heart beating even from where he stood. He leaned forward, whispering encouragement to himself more than her, "You got this, kiddo." Taking another deep breath, Lily began to sing. Her voice, though quiet at first, grew stronger, swirling around the room like a sweet breeze. Beautiful notes spilled forth, and for a moment, Jake forgot about everything else, the worries, the fears, the pain. He was lost in her melody, but just as the chorus hit, a ripple of whispers floated from the back of the room. A group of kids, those same ones who had teased her at school, started laughing. Jake's stomach dropped. A sinking feeling gripped him as he watched Lily's confidence shake under the sudden storm of negativity. She faltered, her voice wavering as she glanced at the laughter that cut through her song. "Stop it!" Jake shouted, his protective instinct surging. The words slipped out before he could hold them back, echoing through the auditorium. Murmurs of surprise swirled, faces turning in his direction. Lily looked down, devastation in her eyes, and suddenly, everything felt like it was crashing down. In that moment, seeing his little girl hurt and vulnerable, Jake realized the risk they took by stepping into the spotlight. He had thought this performance would bring them closer, spark a new beginning. But what had it opened? More wounds? Taking a step forward, Jake left the shadows of the backstage. "That's enough." He called out again, his voice trembling from his need to protect her. "She's up here showing courage. That's what matters, not their fear." He looked at Lily, who had pulled her hands to her chest, her expression frozen with hurt and confusion. The laughter had stolen her light, but Jake wasn't willing to let it end like this. "You're stronger than that, pumpkin. Show them who you are." Something flickered in her eyes. The tears that had threatened to spill over began to transform into determination. Jake could feel the energy shifting. He stepped aside, allowing the light to reflect back to her, boosting her spirit. With a shaking breath, Lily gathered her courage. She lifted her chin, looked straight ahead, and began again. Her voice rang out, louder, more confident this time. Jake stood frozen, fighting the urge to join her and sing along. The laughter from the audience turned to silence, then to soft murmurs of appreciation. And as Lily sang, some of her peers began to nod in rhythm, the magic of her passion melting away the ice of their scorn. In that moment, Jake understood something profound. It wasn't just about the talent show, it was about claiming space in the world, confronting fears, and rising above them. As she finished her song, applause erupted and filled the auditorium like the warm embrace of old friends. A wave of relief washed over Jake. Lily beamed, a radiant smile breaking through the remnants of doubt on her face. But just as the applause faded and emotion settled, a lingering question hung in the air. Was this enough to break the cycle of hurt? Jake thought, aware of the long path ahead. Would the next steps show them even more strength, or would the shadows return to haunt them? As Lily stood before the crowd, renewed and hopeful, Jake's heart raced at what lay ahead. The applause echoed off the walls, a tidal wave of sound that embraced the stage and lifted Lily up higher and higher, like she was flying. Jake could barely breathe as joy and relief battled for space in his chest. She had defiantly emerged from the storm of laughter, but the shadows still lingered just beyond the light. Lily's smile ignited something in him. He knew that glow was just a flicker in a long journey. The crowd began to disperse, conversations bubbling up again, but Jake found himself rooted in place, his gaze tethered to his daughter. He wanted to rush to her, wrap her in his arms, and whisper how proud he was, but he held back, afraid that any sudden move might shatter this fragile moment of victory. As the audience shuffled out, some of the earlier mockers passed the stage, their heads lowered or pretending to be engrossed in their phones. Jake watched them with a growing knot of anger. Who were they to dismiss her bravery? However stirring their laughter was, it was no match for the beautiful truth that was Lily standing there, her small form radiant against the backdrop of the auditorium. Moments later, she hopped off the edge of the stage and ran to him. "Did you hear? They clapped for me." Her laughter bubbled forth like a sparkling brook, and Jake's heart swelled in response that he crouched down, pulling her into a hug. "I heard, kiddo. You were amazing up there. You owned that stage. But what if the laughter comes back?" The glee in her voice faded just a shade, leaving a trace of uncertainty. "I won't let it." Jake's voice was firm. "You showed them today, Lily. You sang from your heart, and that's what counts. The laughter doesn't have power over you now." Lily held him tighter, her small hands gripping the back of his shirt as if he were her anchor in a turbulent sea. Jake felt the weight of her worries pressing against him, and he wished he could make it all disappear. He glanced around the emptying auditorium and caught the eye of one of her classmates, a girl named Mia, who had sat in the front row. She smiled shyly at Lily, and for a fleeting moment, something shifted in Jake. "Hey, pumpkin," he said, still holding on to her. "Let us go talk to Mia. Maybe we can invite her for a playdate?" As they approached, Mia fidgeted with her hoodie strings, her cheeks slightly flushed. Lily shifted on her feet, uncertainty returning as she looked from Mia to her dad. "Hi, Lily," Mia said softly, as if afraid her words might break the delicate atmosphere. "Hi," Lily replied, her voice barely a whisper. "I thought you did great. I'm sorry for what happened earlier." Mia stumbled over her words, clearly searching for the right thing to say. Jake watched the interaction, holding his breath. Would this be a moment of reconciliation or further retreat? Before he could second-guess her response, Lily straightened her back. Jake felt pride swelling inside him again as she spoke. "Thanks for saying that, Mia. I started to feel nervous, but I kept singing." Mia relaxed visibly. "I saw that. You were really brave. I wish I was as brave." Lily hesitated for a moment, allowing the connection between them to weave slowly. "You can be. We can practice together. I can teach you the song." As Jake looked at his daughter, he experienced an overwhelming sense of hope. Maybe this was the beginning of patching the wounds, not just for Lily but for the kids around her. But before that promise of friendship could fully bloom, Jake's phone buzzed in his pocket. It was a text from his brother he hadn't spoken to in ages. "We need to talk, it's about Mom." Jake's stomach knotted again. Would this revelation pull him away from the moment, back into the shadows he thought he'd left behind? He glanced down at Lily, her eyes sparkling with confidence, bright and determined. In her presence, he realized he would have to face whatever awaited him, not just for himself, but for her. Could he balance the burden of family baggage and the blossoming resilience of his daughter? What awaited him was a question running through his mind as he grabbed her hand and led her out toward the bright, uncertain future ahead. Jake felt the weight of his brother's text as they walked hand in hand out of the auditorium, the sound of laughter and applause trailing behind them. The night had been filled with triumph, but now he could feel the creeping worry seep into the corners of his mind like an unwelcome fog. "Dad, can we get ice cream?" Lily's voice cut through his thoughts, bright and innocent. The sparkle in her eyes tempted him to lay his burdens down, even if just for a moment. "Sure, kiddo. Ice cream sounds perfect," Jake replied, forcing a smile. He would need this time with her, this reprieve from the gnawing urgency of the text. As they walked to the nearby ice cream shop, Lily chatted about her performance, replaying the moments in vivid detail. Her excitement was contagious, and Jake drank in her joy, wishing it could last forever. "Then, when I hit that high note, I could see Mia smiling." Lily beamed, ice cream already melting down her hand. "Maybe she'll want to sing with me every day." Her exuberance pushed back against the shadows threatening to cloud his mind. He wanted to feel the same uninhibited joy, but every step toward the shop pulled him closer to the weight of his past. At the ice cream counter, Jake ordered 2 cones, one with mint chocolate chip for Lily and a simple vanilla for himself. As they stepped outside, Lily began to wiggle on the spot, her usual energy bubbling over. "Can we sit by the fountain?" she asked, pointing excitedly to a nearby courtyard where the water danced under the streetlights. Of course. They made their way to the fountain, the sound of rushing water filling the air as they settled on a bench. A gentle breeze wafted through, and for a moment, all felt right in Jake's world. "Dad, do you think I can sing in front of everyone again? Like, at the talent show next year?" Jake chuckled softly. "I think you should. You were born to be on that stage." But a lingering doubt twisted inside him. Could he help her navigate the rough waters of childhood, particularly with the shadows of his family lurking in the background? "You think you're ready for that?" he asked, studying her face for any sign of hesitation. Lily nodded vigorously, her eyes wide with determination. "I want to show everyone that I'm not scared. Just like today." His heart swelled with pride, but doubts were always a moment away. The text loomed over him, a reminder of the unresolved family issues that he'd rather not think about. He could picture his brother's expression, the way he often wore worry like a cloak of heavy fabric. They finished their ice cream, the warm summer night lapping at them like the fountain's gentle splashes. Jake took a deep breath, the air thick with possibilities. "Lily," he said softly, "whatever happens in our family, always remember you're strong. You've already proven it tonight." She looked at him, serious for a moment, then grinned, "And I'll show everyone again. I promise." Just then, Jake's phone buzzed again, and the momentary warmth faded. He hesitated, the familiar knot of anxiety tightening in his gut. He glanced at Lily, who was busy trying to catch a wayward drip of ice cream. Taking the phone out, Jake stared at the screen. Another message from his brother: "I'm coming over tomorrow to talk." An uncomfortable tightness settled in his chest. This wouldn't just be a conversation, it could shake the foundation of their fragile new routine. "What do you think it's about?" Lily's voice broke his reverie. Jake swallowed hard, trying to dispel the dread forming a barrier between them. "I don't know, kiddo. But it's something I need to face." She reached for his hand, her small fingers wrapping around his. "What if it's bad?" He looked into her eyes, and in that moment, time felt suspended. Here was the light of his life, his hope, reminding him that no matter how worried he felt, he had to be strong for her. "I don't know, but we're going to figure it out together, all right?" Lily nodded, her expression turning serious. "Together," she echoed. As they slowly walked away from the fountain, Jake felt her hand in his like an anchor in the storm. But a sense of uncertainty loomed ahead. What truths lay behind that door? Would facing his brother bring clarity or confusion, and how would it affect the sturdy bridge they had just begun to build? Tomorrow was coming, and with it, the answers he needed and the specter of the past that he had to confront. The morning light streamed through the kitchen window, casting a warm glow over the breakfast table. It wasn't long before Jake heard the familiar sound of Lily's cheerful voice calling from the bedroom. He could hear her singing a tune from her performance, the notes bouncing in the air like the joy she radiated. He smiled, allowing himself a moment to relish her innocent happiness before the reality of the day came crashing back. The text from his brother played over in his mind. "I'm coming over tomorrow to talk." What could it mean? What would it reveal? "Dad." Lily's voice cut through his thoughts. "Are we gonna go to the park today? Can we? She appeared in the kitchen, her hair a delightful mess, hands clutched tightly to her sides as she bounced on her toes. Jake knew today was about more than just fun in the sun, he had a mountain to climb. But she seemed blissfully unaware of the storm looming over them. "Of course, kiddo," he replied, trying to instill some lightness into his voice. "But first, help me out with breakfast. What do you want, waffles or pancakes?" "Waffles!" she exclaimed, jumping up and down. The way her body lit up with excitement made Jake wish he could bottle this moment. They worked together, flour dusting the counter as laughter danced through the kitchen. It felt sacred, this small slice of normalcy, like a life raft in a turbulent sea. "Do you ever get nervous, Dad?" Lily asked, breaking the spirited silence as she whisked the batter with gusto. He glanced at her, caught off guard. Nervous? About what? You know, singing, or anything else. She looked at him, her eyes wide and curious. What do you mean? Well, she paused, her face thoughtful. You seemed a little different last night. Did something bother you? His heart twisted. The way she picked up on his emotions made him painfully aware of how it affected her. I'm okay, sweet pea. Just things with family can be tricky sometimes. She set down the whisk, placing her small hand on his arm. You can tell me if you want. At that moment, he realized how much she thought he carried the weight alone. Sometimes, it's not easy to talk about grown-up stuff. But I'll share whatever you want, just not today. Inside, he felt a flicker of guilt. She deserved a father who was open with her, a person who would tell her absolutely everything. But he wasn't sure he could even confide in himself right now. I want to sing in front of everyone again, you know. She chirped, breaking his reverie. You will, and you'll be incredible, he reassured her, feeling the familiar swell of pride. After breakfast, they gathered their things and headed to the park. The sun beat down, warming Jake's shoulders as the chirping of birds filled the air. It all felt so enveloping, and he wanted to hold on to it just a little longer. But as they approached the entrance, his phone buzzed again, a reminder that the moment was fleeting. Aunt Rachel is coming too. Lily exclaimed as Jake read the message, his brother's name flashing across the screen. Will she join us on the swings? Jake nodded, forcing a smile, but the reality of what awaited him loomed ever larger. Yeah, she'll be here soon. Lily took off, running ahead to the playground, her laughter ringing like music. Jake stood for a moment, watching her. Then he felt the weight of his phone again. He couldn't shake the uneasy feeling churning within him. Everyone has their burdens, he thought, glancing at the horizon, where the sky almost seemed to mirror his turmoil. Could he really share his? Would it weigh Lily down? As he walked toward the swings, he caught glimpses of other parents chatting, laughter echoing around him. He wanted to share this bond, this moment, but the conversation with his brother buzzed like a wasp that wouldn't leave him alone. He took a deep breath, reminding himself that he wouldn't face it alone. And then he spotted a figure approaching the familiar form of his brother, looking more serious than ever. Jake felt his stomach drop. Today was the day everything could change. Jake! His brother called, raising a hand. It was time to confront the past and the tangled web of family truths. Would they find a way to mend the gaps, or would it all unravel? Jake took another deep breath, feeling every pulse of uncertainty. Lily, he whispered as he turned, ready or not. Jake straightened, forcing himself to push back the wave of anxiety crashing over him. He watched as his brother closed the distance, each step weighted with unspoken words. The laughter and vibrant energy of the park seemed to fade into the background, replaced by the pounding of Jake's heart. Hey, his brother said, trying for a casual tone but failing to mask the tension in his voice. I didn't expect you to bring Lily. Thought we'd have a nice family outing before. Well, you know, Jake replied, keeping his gaze steady. He wanted to stay present for Lily, who was completely lost in her own world of play, but he could feel the conversation pressing in. Right. I should have called for a rain check on this talk. His brother sighed, rubbing the back of his neck in a way that reminded Jake of their father. A tell that something serious was about to come out. Maybe it's better to get this over with now, Jake said, forcing himself to keep the tremor of dread from his voice. What is going on? Let us walk, his brother suggested, nodding toward a quieter section of the park, away from the joyous chaos. With one last look at Lily, who was swinging higher and higher, they moved toward the trees, where the sounds of the playground faded. Once they reached a secluded bench, his brother paused, his expression turning grave. Jake, I've been thinking about the family. About things we never talked about. Jake felt something tighten in his chest. We're past all that, right? Why bring it up now? It's not that easy. It's about Mom, his brother said, looking Jake straight in the eye. I got something new. Something different. Jake's breath caught. The shadows of their past loomed large. The conversations they'd avoided rippled between them, threatening to swallow him whole. What about her? Somehow, I found out she was keeping things from us, things about her health. Financial troubles too. Things we never considered when she was gone. The weight of those words hung between them, a wrench in Jake's gut. Why didn't you say anything earlier? Because I didn't know how to share that burden with you. But now, I feel like we can't just pretend it didn't happen. It's all tied up with the choices we've both made. Jake looked away, feeling the rawness of guilt shoot through him. The emotional storm brewing had collided with years of resentment and confusion. I thought we were done unpacking all that. I thought we'd moved on. A shadow fell across his brother's face. We have to face it head-on, together. Just then, a shrill laugh erupted from the swings. Jake turned to see Lily soaring through the air, her golden hair dancing wildly as she flew high toward the blue sky. She was blissful and unknowing, a stark contrast to the tumult sinking in his heart. Jake! Lily called out, her little voice piercing the tension, reminding him of what he was fighting for. His brother sighed deeply, then lowered his voice. We can't keep hiding this stuff. It's not just gonna go away. Let us take it slow, Jake said, heart racing. He couldn't bear to let his daughter feel the weight of their family's past. Whatever it is, we handle it together. This isn't about her. His brother nodded slowly, but uncertainty clouded his face. Just promise me one thing. When the time comes, we don't hide things from her. She deserves better. Better than what we had? Jake asked, feeling a protective instinct rise. You think I'd let her live that way? I won't let that happen. As they stood there, eyes locked, Jake felt the ground shift beneath him. Everything was about to change again. Today was not just another day at the park. This was just the beginning of unraveling old wounds. Lily! Jake shouted, trying to catch her attention, but his heart ached with the knowledge that soon the conversation could no longer be put off, and their family might never be the same. He turned back to his brother, just as the sunlight began to shift, casting elongated shadows on the ground. So, are you ready for the next step? As the wind swirled around them, Jake's chest tightened, and deeper questions gnawed at him. Could they really confront their past and leave it behind? Let us find a way, his brother replied, his murmur heavy with apprehension, but as they turned back to the swings, a sudden chill raced through Jake. What awaited them in the shadows, hidden under the guise of fun, and was Lily somehow connected to it all? Jake's heart raced as he turned back toward the swings, anxiety building in his chest. Lily was still soaring, blissfully unaware of the weight pressing down on her father. He could only hope that the shadows lurking in their family's past wouldn't encroach on her innocence. Let us sit, he suggested suddenly, motioning towards a nearby picnic bench. The need to regroup gnawed at him. Memories of their mother swirled in his mind, images wrapped in comfort and pain. He remembered her laughter, the smell of her cooking filtering through their small house. But now, her absence felt heavier with these new revelations. Okay, let us talk, his brother said, sinking onto the bench beside him. They shared a glance, an understanding passing between them. Heartbeats calmed as Jake held on to that moment. He took a deep breath, his eyes drifting back to Lily. She laughed, her joy sparking in the sun. She needs to be protected from this. Jake, his brother interjected softly, if she doesn't hear the truth from us, she'll hear it elsewhere. We both know that. What do you want me to do? Jake shot back, feeling his defenses rise. You want me to drag her into this mess? She's 2 years old. She doesn't deserve to bear the weight of our past mistakes. Then we make sure she never has to, his brother said, urgency creeping into his words. But we can't shield her forever. Ignoring won't make it go away. Jake frowned, the weight pushing against his thoughts. So you think we should just shove this all onto her when the time comes? His brother sighed, frustration taut in the air. What if we start now? Teaching her about resilience? About not fearing the shadows, so they 1T control her life? Resilience? Jake echoed, doubt clouding his voice. Is that what the last few years have been about? No, it's been about survival. She doesn't need to know about survival yet. She needs to be a kid. Exactly, his brother replied, glancing sideways at the happy child in the distance. And the best way for her to be a kid is for us to deal with our past now. If we carry this burden, it'll just seep into our lives and hers, too. Jake turned to his brother then, finally seeing the true weight of the conversation. What do you want from me? I want us to face Mom's legacy together. We owe it to her. We owe it to ourselves and to Lily to be better, his brother said, eyes earnest. Jake blinked, trying to comprehend the truth in those words. The thought of his daughter living life in fear, the way he and his brother had done, struck him deeply. Was there a way to rewrite their history? His heart conflicted but swelled with the desire to protect her at all costs. As they spoke, a soft breeze rustled through the trees, carrying whispers of change. He felt the stirrings of something hopeful yet intimidating. Could they really change the narrative? Would opening old wounds heal them? Suddenly, Lily hopped off the swing and came running over, face aglow. Daddy! Look! She squealed, proudly displaying a small, shiny rock she clutched in her tiny palm. Jake knelt to her level, heart swelling with love. Wow, Lily! That's beautiful. Can we take it home? She asked, her eyes shining bright. Of course, sweetheart, he said, ruffling her hair affectionately. Glancing at his brother from the corner of his eye, a question lingered unasked. If they chose to change, could it be enough to break the cycle? To create a new legacy that Lily could carry with her? As Jake stood up, he felt a new determination and urgency to act before time slipped away. The conversation was just beginning, and it bubbled up inside him, fiercely demanding attention. Maybe we can figure it out, Jake murmured, looking back at his brother. Together. A flicker of hope ignited between them as the laughter of children echoed in the park. But would it be enough to face whatever was hidden, waiting for them just beyond the swings? The journey ahead might lead to revelations they couldn't foresee. Jake watched Lily as she bent down to examine the rock further, her tiny fingers tracing its surface with curious delight. Her innocence acted as a balm to his fraying heart. It made the burdens of the past seem momentarily distant, but that serenity was fleeting. He could almost hear the echoes of their mother's voice, guiding him, challenging him to embrace the truth instead of running from it. This rock reminds me of the one you found when we were kids, he said, smiling at Lily. The memory brushed against his mind, days filled with adventure, laughter, and an unspoken promise that life post-mother would somehow be okay. But those days were long gone. Now, his heartbeat surged with fears he couldn't shake. His brother, still sitting on the bench, studied Jake closely. You know, it's not just about protecting her, he began slowly, searching for the right words. It's giving her the tools to navigate life. That means showing her how to face everything. But how? Jake snapped, surprising even himself with the heat of his words. How do I teach her when I feel so lost? What if I mess it up? His brother remained calm, steady, a lighthouse amid the storm. It's okay to be uncertain. We're all learning. Remember when we used to build those makeshift rafts on the lake? We didn't know if they'd float, but we still tried. No one could keep us from jumping in. The memory made Jake chuckle, but the laughter turned to a tight knot in his throat. Those carefree days felt like they belonged to another lifetime. But Lily's not ready for rough waters. She needs stability. And she can have it amidst the chaos, his brother said. Look at her. She's adapting. For every shadow we expose her to, we can also teach her how to find her own light. Jake watched Lily as she stood in the sunlight, spinning around, arms wide open, a world to conquer. The carefree joy painted in her face lit something within him. It wasn't the absence of darkness that defined her world, it was the presence of hope, love, and joy. What if he could help her find balance? His brother's words sunk deeper. We can't hide from the shadows, but we can shine so bright that they don't matter as much. Jake's thoughts raced. There was a conversation to be had, a truth to be shared. It wouldn't be easy, but it was worth it. He turned to his brother, a new resolve hardening inside him. You're right. I want to talk to her. But what if she doesn't understand? What if she does? His brother's smile was soft yet confident. What's most important is that she knows she is loved, no matter what. And that's our job. Taking a deep breath, Jake gathered his thoughts, his heart firming. Tonight, after dinner, he would share a story. A story about their mother, their family, and the truth that lingered beyond the happy facade. As Lily bounced back toward him, she squeaked again, "Look, Daddy." A ladybug. Her squeal filled the air, a sound of pure miracle that snapped Jake back to the present. Just like you, Lily. Strong and small, he whispered, kneeling beside her to glimpse the vibrant creature. In that moment, he realized that it was about more than just darkness. It was about stories, shared moments, small victories, and endless love. As they watched the ladybug crawl slowly across the grass, Jake felt lightness in his heart. The fear was still there, but it was no longer paralyzing. If they were going to face the shadows, they would face them together. What if we have a ladybug race later? Lily suggested, wide-eyed. Jake's heart swelled with the idea of laughter, joys easy like Sunday afternoons. That sounds amazing, he said, feeling affection wash over him. But just as joy began to wrap around them, a dark cloud passed overhead, drawing Jake's attention. There, at the edge of the park, a figure stood watching the past creeping back closer, the shadows of old mistakes whispered through leaves. The question hung in the air, would they be ready to confront the specter of their shared history? It was only a matter of time before the ladybug might fade away, and realities would collide. Jake felt a chill run down his spine as he recognized the figure lingering in the shadows, a familiar silhouette that brought the weight of unfinished stories he had tried to bury. His mind raced, battling between the warmth of the moment with Lily and the stark reality that loomed larger than life. "Daddy?" Lily tugged at his sleeve, her voice sweet yet tinged with concern. "What's wrong?" "Nothing, sweetheart." Jake's voice was softer than he felt, the words a weak shield against the approach of the past. But he didn't want to scare her. He didn't want her to see his fear. Just, keep an eye on that ladybug. As Lily knelt down, engrossed in her little world, Jake's brother watched him closely, trying to read the tension in his expression. "Do you want me to check it out?" he whispered. No, Jake shook his head, his heart thundering as the figure stepped forward, now fully visible. It was an old friend of their mother's, someone he hadn't seen in years but had never forgotten. John always had a knack for showing up at the worst times, dragging memories back into the forefront of Jake's mind. "Jake," John greeted, but his eyes flicked to Lily, and that moment of recognition twisted something deep inside Jake. "Why are you here?" Jake's voice was frigid, attempting to shield his daughter from any discomfort. John's gaze remained on Lily, that soft smile taking on a layer of sadness. "I came to see your mother, but I can see she's not around. I just wanted to check on you both, see how you're doing." The words tasted bitter. How could he check in now? Where had he been when their world crumbled? Anger bubbled beneath Jake's surface, an anger he had buried, one that he never quite knew how to express. "You chose to be absent when it mattered," he said, trying to keep his voice steady. John started, but Jake cut him off. "It's not about you," he snapped. "We're doing just fine without you or anyone else from that part of our past creeping back in." Lily looked up, her tiny brow furrowed as if she could sense the rising storm in her father's voice. "Daddy, who is he?" Jake took a breath, reaching deep inside for calm. "He's just someone from a long time ago. Don't worry about it." Lily was too young to understand the layers of betrayal and pain wrapped within that friendship. He needed to protect her. Meanwhile, John's expression changed, a shadow crossing his face. "I still care about you both, Jake. I've regretted not being there, and I want to make it right." "Make it right?" Jake scoffed, fists clenching. "You don't just get to waltz back in like nothing happened. You have no idea what we've been through." Lily squeezed his hand, clearly sensing her father's distress. "Daddy, can we go play?" Her innocence cut through the tension like a knife. Before Jake could respond, John crouched down to her level. "Hey there, little one. I hope you know how special you are," he said, his voice softening. Lily, unfazed, smiled back, a bright spark of light in the gloom. "I have a ladybug. Wanna see?" Panic washed over Jake. He didn't want John to take this moment from them. "Let us go, Lily. We don't need him to come play with us." But as they began to walk away, something tugged at Jake's heart, a flicker of his mother's voice, urging him to consider. Maybe this was a chance to build a bridge instead of only tearing down the past. "Jake, wait," John's voice called after them. "Please. Just let me explain." Could he really consider what John had to say? Could he unravel that tightly knotted thread of resentment to find a possible new chapter? Hovering at that crossroads, he felt time inch toward a decision. Tonight, he thought, I'll talk to Lily. But what if talking to John changes everything again? His heart raced at the thought as they walked away, leaving Lily's innocent laughter behind. Choices loomed like the weight of clouds overhead. Would the shadows over their family ever fully lift? The sun dipped low, casting hues of orange and purple across the sky as Jake and Lily made their way home from the park. Jake's heart felt heavy beneath his smile, still echoing pressure from the confrontation with John. But all that was suddenly overshadowed as he looked down at Lily, twirling, her laughter like music in the air. Amid the stress, she shone like a beacon of warmth. "Did you have fun today, pumpkin?" he asked, kneeling down to meet her eyes. "Best day ever," she exclaimed, her cheeks flushed with excitement. "The ladybug was so fast. And when I swung so high, I almost touched the sky." Her joy radiated, igniting something inside of him. "That's amazing. You really are brave," he said, feeling a new resolve take root. He caught the sparkle in her eyes and made a silent promise to hold on to these moments, to guard her laughter against the shadows. As they entered the house, Jake glanced at the kitchen table, the warm light spilling over piles of bills and reminders of the unfinished business looming in their lives. "Let us make dinner together," he suggested, pushing down the anxiety for just a bit longer. "Yay! Can we sing while we cook?" Lily piped up, her energy palpable. Her voice echoed through the small kitchen, spilling over with unfiltered joy as they gathered utensils, pots, and ingredients. For a moment, the world outside faded, replaced by the comforting chaos of their little sanctuary. While they sang silly songs, vibrant with laughter, a new perspective began to emerge in Jake's mind. Perhaps confronting the past could lead to healing, to honor their journey rather than bury it. "After dinner, I want to share something with you," he said, looking earnestly into Lily's bright blue eyes. "Okay, but can we have dessert first?" She giggled, her innocent charm always managing to ease the tension brewing in his chest. Jake chuckled, and as they finished up in the kitchen together, he felt a flicker of hope glow between them, a thread of promise that they could face whatever was ahead together. After dinner, they snuggled on the couch, the remnants of food drifting gently in the air, bats of warmth and safety encasing them. He could hear her soft breaths beside him, calm and steady, and it emboldened him. "Lily, I want you to know that it's brave to share our stories," he started, battling the weight of his own childhood memories surfacing. "I want to tell you about our family and some things you may not understand yet, but I promise it's coming from a place of love." Her eyes widened, curiosity dancing across her features. "Tell me." She replied, her small fingers intertwined with his, anchoring him to this moment. Jake took a deep breath. "You remember my friend John the first saw at the park today?" She nodded, her face serious. "Well, he was part of our world before things got tough. There were choices made that hurt and caused us to drift apart. But I don't want you to fear the past. The stories can be complicated, but they don't define who we are today." Lily squirmed a bit, her mind processing. "Will it hurt?" she asked quietly, her brow furrowing that he wanted to wrap her in a bubble of safety, to protect her from hurt, but he also knew that resilience was born from facing truths. "It might feel heavy, but it's okay. What matters is that we are building our own story now together. Our hearts can grow in love and understanding from what we learn." He watched as her small body considered his words, thoughts spinning like a gentle whirlpool in her mind. He pulled her closer, and she leaned into him, resting her head against his shoulder. "Really? We will be okay?" she whispered, earnestness bright in her eyes. "Absolutely. Remember, tough times don't last, but tough people like you do," he replied, affirming the strength he saw in her spirit. As they sat in silence, the air vibrating with promise, Jake felt a sense of resolution settle within him. He would face the past, a task that felt daunting but necessary. But with Lily beside him, light pulsing through their shared moments, he understood the enormity of love guiding every step. The night wore on, and they shared laughter and dreams, creating a treasure trove of memories, each echoing a joy that would embrace whatever shadows loomed. As it came time for bed, Jake kissed her forehead, whispering, "You're a shining star, sweetheart. Dream big." As he turned off her light and stepped outside her room, something broke loose inside him. Perhaps this journey would lead to fractures but also to healing. Maybe opening those conversations with John, even if daunting, could spark renewal. Outside, the world felt softer, a layer of calm had settled over him. With the moonlight bathing the night and soft sounds of crickets drifting through the air, Jake felt an urgency stir within. They would weave their own story, uncover the past, cherish the present, and nurture hope for the future. It wouldn't always be easy, but with Lily by his side, he had everything he needed to take the next step. As he settled onto the couch, his phone buzzed again. A new message from John appearing on the screen. "Please meet me tomorrow. I think it's time to talk." He ran a hand through his hair, a nervous chuckle escaping his lips. Tomorrow would come, filled with uncertainty, questions, and the possibility of healing. He lifted his gaze and whispered into the stillness of the house, "We'll figure it out. Together." And with that, under the watchful glow of the moon, he surrendered himself to the hope springing from love, and he finally felt ready. "Now, I need you to act. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss our next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to help feed the algorithm. Your support matters. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about the ending. I want to hear from you. And share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of uplifting our community through your actions.